Good morning, distinguished guests to this very important Sovereign Security Conference of 2020, members of the South African National Defence Force, generals, admirals and officers, defense attaches and foreign military representatives, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this 2020 edition of the Sovereign Security Conference. For me, it is quite a special conference because I am probably doing this for the last time as the Secretary for Defense, because I am now retiring from 45 years of public service, 9 of which has been as a Secretary of Defense. It is therefore an honor and a privilege to address you all today. The subject of sovereign security has seldom been more relevant as the coronavirus pandemic radically changes the world we live in and makes matters of border security and homeland security ones of life and death. Border security, for example, has always been a contentious topic in South Africa, as our borders are a source of entry for undocumented persons, drugs, counterfeit goods, and other contrabands. With the spread of the coronavirus, we can ill afford to let people cross our borders illegally, especially if they are infected or become source of transmissions of infections, not only into South Africa, but also out of South Africa. We can expect to see more people lawlessly moving across Africa as the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic grows. And this will see an influx into South Africa as it's one of the hubs of economic development in the region. Strong borders are also needed for economic security to prevent untaxed, illegal or contraband goods from coming and going and hurting our economy. Since our lockdown started in March this year, we have seen a major increase in the smuggling of cigarettes, which is not only against state of national disaster regulations, but is also putting money into the hands of criminal networks, as well as terrorist networks operating in our region. We need about 22 companies, but due to budget constraints, our borders are protected by 15 companies of soldiers, and our air borders are actually exposed, and more needs to be done to strengthen the security of our air, of our land, of our sea, and other territorial integrity areas. Improving sea borders is also imperative in contributing to the Blue Ocean's economy, which is a major component of the Operation Phakisa. Technology is a force multiplier for troops on the ground, and as it is, we are looking at various ways to acquire equipment in the South African National Defence Force, such as radars, drones, and surveillance cameras. The rollout of Border Management Authority will also help strengthen South Africa's ports of entry and ensure South Africa's people are and feel safe. I should add, ladies and gentlemen, that the South African National Defence Force has drafted and completed a border safeguarding and sensor strategies document, which, when implemented it appropriately and funded appropriately, will go a long way in mitigating the porousness of our border lines and our coastal lines. The coronavirus pandemic is putting even more demands on the South African National Defence Force. With 20,000 members deployed until at least the end of September, under Operation Notlela, the coronavirus response of our department, together with other departments, remains a priority. Even though fewer personnel are available for other taskings, it is in times of crisis like this that South Africa needs to ensure that the continent is stable and that our country and our region is prosperous. South Africa already plays a leading role in peacekeeping missions on the African continent, but it also faces other challenges that are currently emerging. We are deeply concerned about the situation in Mozambique and elsewhere on the continent regarding the rise of terrorism, as this has a negative effect on the socio-economic development of our region and our peoples. South Africa is a major partner in peace and security keeping operations across the continent, being members of the African Union, United Nations, Southern Africa Development Community, SADC, and other organizations. We assist countries like Mozambique and Zimbabwe with national disaster relief. We provide maritime security along the Mozambique Channel to fight piracy, and we provide peacekeepers to the United Nations mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Closer to home, the South African National Defence Force is contributing in a big way to fighting coronavirus through the supply of field hospitals, medical personnel, protective equipment, and in support of the South African Police Service and other government agencies. This is, however, putting a strain on the Department of Defense budget. The latest budget allocation gave an additional 3 billion rands to the Department of Defense, but this is 1.5 billion rand less than what was requested and what is required for Operation Notlela. As a result, the department will have to prioritize funding taken from one programs in order to assist other programs. The Department of Defense is mandated to protect the sovereignty and security of the Republic of South Africa. This is an increasingly difficult task as the defense budget continues to shrink. The majority of the budget already goes to paying salaries, leaving little for capital acquisitions and other expenditure, meaning that the Department of Defense has to do more with less resources. The reduced defense budget is putting a strain on acquisition programs, particularly projects like Hoofyster for the infantry combat vehicles, projects like Byro for inshore patrol vessels, and projects like Project Hotel for a new hydrographic survey vessels. Ladies and gentlemen, efficiency and optimizations are needed to ensure defense projects are delivered on time and on budget. As its equipment ages, the National Defense Force will have to increasingly rely on ingenuity to keep going. The defense industry has an opportunity to assist the South African National Defense Force in working smarter and harder and creating a lean and mean force. Technology in particular can serve as a cost-effective force multiplier and can assist the Department of Defense in improving our sovereign security capabilities. South Africa has long been a pioneer in many fields, such as missiles, satellites, drones, armored vehicles, and many of the technologies can or are being used profitably to enhance our nation's sovereign security. For example, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is leading efforts to develop a network of satellites for maritime security and surveillance. The CSIR has also developed many other useful technologies such as CMO, command and control systems, surveillance cameras, and more. Many of these technologies, such as the CMO that we talked about, are used to combat wildlife poaching, while the National Defense Force uses its indigenous drones. Together with other stakeholders, the CSIR is pioneering passive radar as a cost-effective surveillance solution, something that would be of interest to the Department of Defense. There are many other companies providing innovative products and solutions, and South Africa's vibrant aerospace and defense industry is up to the task of meeting Africa's sovereign security challenges. For example, the locally developed meerkat surveillance system has led to a reduction in wildlife poaching in the Kruger National Park. Other capabilities, such as electronic warfare, can serve as force multipliers, with companies like Hansot and Reutech providing competitive solutions. The Department of Defense needs a strong and healthy public and private defense industries to provide it with the latest technologies. With the declining defense budget and international competition, the industry has been facing difficult times, and this has been exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic. To stay competitive in an increasingly crowded market, the defense industry needs to reimagine many of the ways in which it operates. It needs to be open to partnership and joint ventures, diversity into the commercial sector, adopt fourth industrial revolution technologies like three-dimensional printing and digital manufacturing, come up with creative funding and payment model such as bartering, as well as pursue less obvious markets like the United Nations and market itself more strongly. From a selfish point of view, the Department of Defense needs the industry to succeed. South Africa has many competitive products, such as in the fields of artillery, self-protection systems, mine detection vehicles, secure communications, electronic warfare and radar systems, unmanned aerial vehicles, and guided weapons. In spite of the many challenges facing the South African defense industry, there are many opportunities as well. Apart from world-leading technology, South Africa can use its non-aligned status as a draw card and can benefit from the major powers competition the world is currently witnessing. In Africa, there are many opportunities for the supply of military equipment, especially with insecurity that is currently prevailing, with piracy, as well as with instability that is prevalent in many countries. More security capabilities will be needed in these countries. Even in the darkest times of adversity, there are opportunities. For example, companies like Denel, companies like Paramount and Milco have been successfully manufacturing ventilators and personal protective equipment in response to the current coronavirus pandemic. During my time as Secretary for Defense, I have seen the significant impact that defense and security industry have had on our country and the continent. I joined the South African National Defense Force as a medical doctor in the military health service and served at one military hospital. This, together with my military background as a former member from Konto Wesizwe, enabled me to rapidly grasp the operational matters in the Defense Force. After a time with the State Security Agency, I was appointed in 2011 to the Ministerial Defense Review Committee and helped to create the South African Defense Review of 2015. During the final stages of the development and approval of the Defense Review 2015, I was appointed as Secretary for Defense and thrown in at the deep end to implement that defense review. As head of department and accounting officer for the department, I had the responsibility to ensure that the Department of Defense was enabled and functioned efficiently. In line with the Defense Review 2015, I have focused my efforts on arresting the decline in the Department of Defense. The economic situation makes it impossible to fully implement the Defense Review 2015, but we have focused on the non-cost-driven aspects, such as improving efficiency, organizational restructuring, and improvement of operational support systems. Procurement has been decentralized, allowing military units to buy locally, providing a catalyst to small, medium, and micro-sized enterprises. We have not given up on the Defense Review and continue to pursue it as our resources might be able to allow, and continue to pursue it as much as possible with the limited resources available to us. In line with the Defense Review, we established the National Defense Industry Council, which in turn has since delivered the South African Defense Industry Strategy, the Defense Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Sector Code, and the Defense Industry Fund to ensure that small, medium, and micro-sized enterprises participate in this defense industry sector. We ensured that the defense sector participated in the Public-Private Growth Initiative of the Presidency, which aimed to attract 100 billion rand worth of domestic and foreign investments into the South African economy. Through bilateral collaborations with strategic countries, we have been able to grow South African defense industry exports from 5 billion rand to 10 billion rand per annum over the last 5 years. We have focused on as well as pursued specific defense technologies at defense research institutions to enable operational capabilities that can be utilized as force multipliers and provide benefit and operational advantage to the defense force over the long term. Other highlights during my tenure includes improving our relationship with BRICS countries. For example, we host regular international military exercises. We have facilitated the lift of the blacklisting of Denel in India. We have matured defense relations with China, and we are developing guided munitions with Brazil. The Department of Defense works well with other government departments and assists in fighting crime and corruption, managing and securing our borders, securing cyberspace, and assuring domestic stability. We also provide disaster relief and humanitarian assistance, something that is essential during these extraordinary times. In my tenure as Secretary for Defense, I have seen the enormous good the National Defense Force has done and continues to do, whether it is in providing clean water and bridges for rural communities or healthcare services to the most vulnerable and those in the unserviced areas. I have also familiarized myself with the vast capabilities and skills the South African defense industry has to offer. It has survived enormous challenges and will have to survive more challenges to come. But South Africa's can-do attitude and ability to perform miracles on shoestring budgets will serve it well. As I bid farewell as Secretary for Defense, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and trust you will weather this COVID-19 pandemic storm. Be safe and be strong. I thank you.